Hello, Pillar Church. My name is Kennedy, and I just recently graduated from Hope, which feels a little weird. But for the last couple years of my life, I've spent my time worshiping with you in your community and even interning there this last year. I have come home back to Washington with my family since graduating to spend the summer here. And while I'm here and not there, I miss you and I think of you and pray for you often, so I hope you're well. It's my privilege today to share a piece of scripture with you. This passage comes from Proverbs 3. Hear the word of the Lord. Trust in the Lord with all your heart, and do not lean on your own understanding. In all your ways acknowledge him, and he will make straight your paths. Blessed is the one who finds wisdom, and the one who gets understanding. For the gain from her is better than gain from silver, and her profit better than gold. Thanks be to God. I've been reading through Proverbs since coming home, and I share these particular verses, 5 through 6 and then 13 through 14 with you today, because as I read them originally, two thoughts came to mind. The first one comes from this line, "In all your ways acknowledge him." I've heard this before, I'm sure you have as well, but as I read it after having graduated, and based on where we are in time right now, it struck me a little bit differently. In all your ways acknowledge him. The thought that came to mind for me was the fact that it feels like there are less big things in my life anyway, and it may be the same for you. My life right now feels like a collection of really small moments, things that feel insignificant, there's not a lot to do, and yet this proverb calls me to acknowledge the Lord in all of my ways. And so I've been wondering, what does it mean for us as Christians to acknowledge the Lord in all of our ways right now, when it feels like we have less things to concern the Lord with? So I ask the same of you. What might it look like for you today to acknowledge the Lord in all of your ways, even those small things that you have considered insignificant, maybe too mundane to concern the Lord with? How might he be calling you to slow down and notice his work in your life, even in something so small? Tim Keller, in his book, Every Good Endeavor, says, "No task is too small a vessel to hold the immense dignity of work given by God." I find this to be incredibly beautiful. He uses examples of mowing your lawn, of cleaning your house, and he makes the case that nothing is too small to be irrelevant for God, and he can work in all of those things. So even though those might be the things that we're filling our days with, the Lord is still working in them. And how might we be called to notice them a little differently? My second thought comes from verse 13. Blessed is the one who finds wisdom and the one who gets understanding. So as the Lord is calling us to slow down and acknowledge him in all of our ways, could he be calling you to his kind of wisdom? He calls us to this all the time, every day of our lives, but it feels especially relevant to me right now with the racial injustices that are going on in our country, that always have been. But how are we called now to seek his wisdom so that we can seek his justice in the world? How are we supposed to seek his wisdom so that we can better discern how our work aligns with his work? How we are called to love each other well? Pillar, those are my thoughts. How are we to acknowledge the Lord in everything that we do, even the smallest and insignificant things? And how might he be calling you to wisdom as you slow down and acknowledge those things? The peace of the Lord be with you.